All right, let's talk about something that's on every language teacher's mind: tech in the classroom. What does it actually mean for you day to day? We're going to cut through all the hype and get right to a simple, practical guide for using technology to make your teaching even better. So let's dive in.
Okay, first things first, let's be real. You've got lesson plans, grading, a whole classroom to manage. Is adding technology just one more thing to worry about? I mean, is it really worth the time and the stress when things, inevitably go wrong?
Well, the short answer is a big, loud yes. And not because it's new and shiny, it's because of what it actually does for learning. We're talking about bringing real world, authentic language into your class, getting students genuinely excited and motivated, letting them learn at their own speed, and opening up these incredible new ways for them to work together.
So let's get specific. How does this actually work? In this first part, we're going to see how technology isn't just a fun add-on. It's a powerhouse tool for leveling up the 4 skills every single language learner needs: listening, speaking, reading, and writing. And here's what that looks like in the wild. For listening, you can finally ditch the boring textbook audio and jump into real-world podcasts and YouTube videos. For speaking, tools like Vocaroo let your students practice saying things out loud without that fear of messing up in front of everyone. For reading, the internet is basically a limitless library. And for writing, things like Google Docs and class blogs give students a real audience, which is a total game changer. It's really about transforming how we teach these skills.
Of course, knowing why tech is a good idea is only half the battle, right? The other half, well, that's all about us, the teachers. So let's shift gears and talk about the teacher's mindset and how we can go from feeling hesitant to feeling confident. I bet this looks familiar. It's that debate going on in our heads. On one side, you've got all these amazing opportunities, more student engagement, endless resources. But on the other side, the fears are just as real. What happens if the Wi-Fi dies mid-lesson? Are my students just going to be on their phones? It's so important to acknowledge that both sides of this argument are completely valid. We all fall somewhere on the spectrum. Maybe you're the technophile, always the first to try the new app. Or maybe you lean more toward the technophobe side, a little worried about things going haywire. And a lot of us are right in the middle, as pragmatists. We'll use it if it actually works and makes a lesson better. And you know what? Wherever you are right now is totally okay.
So, listen, the goal here is not to turn every single teacher into a tech guru. Nope. The real goal is to become a confident pragmatist. That's someone who isn't just chasing the latest trend. It's someone who uses technology on purpose, selectively, for one reason and one reason only, because it helps them achieve a specific learning goal for their students.
So how do we actually become that person? Well, you need a simple way to think about it, a framework for making smart choices. And that brings us to our third section and probably the most important idea of all: pedagogy before pixels. This is it. This is the golden rule, the one thing to write down. Your teaching goal, your pedagogy, always comes first. The technology comes second. We don't use a tool just because it's cool. We use it because it is the absolute best way to help our students learn what we need them to learn, period. And a fantastic way to put that rule into action is something called the SAMR model. Just think of it like a ladder. Down at the bottom, you have substitution. That's just swapping one thing for another, like typing an essay instead of handwriting it. No big change. Climb up a rung to augmentation, and you're adding a little something extra, like spell check. But the real magic happens at the top. Modification is where you really start to redesign the task, like using Google Docs so students can edit each other's work in real time. And at the very top, redefinition, you're doing things that were literally impossible before, like having students create a video documentary instead of an essay. Okay, we've got the why and we've got the how. Now let's get down to the what. In our final section, we're going to make this super real and actionable. Let's talk about your first digital steps, no matter what your classroom looks like. Let's start with the toughest sounding scenario. You have 0 computers in your classroom. Guess what? No problem. You can still use all the amazing stuff on the internet. You just find authentic materials online, news articles, song lyrics, whatever, and you print them out. You bring the web into your classroom on paper. Tech integration starts with the resource, not the device. Okay, let's level up. Now you've got one computer with an internet connection. The absolute game changer here is a projector. With that simple setup, that one little computer becomes a window to the entire world for your whole class. You can watch videos, look at websites together, do group quizzes. It becomes the heart of the lesson.
And finally, the dream scenario, you have a full computer lab. Now your options just explode. Students can work on their own, do deep research, create amazing digital projects. The really important thing here, though, is to make these lab sessions a normal part of your teaching, not just a once-in-a-while special treat.
So, no matter which of those scenarios you're in, where's a great place to start? Well, this image gives us a massive clue. The key takeaway here is that just using websites is one of the absolute easiest, lowest stress ways to get your feet wet. You don't need fancy software. You just need a web browser and a good idea.
So what does this all boil down to? Here's your simple 4-step action plan. First, start small. Seriously, don't try to change your entire curriculum overnight. Second, pick just one tool and get really good at it. Third, and this is crucial, always have a plan B. A non-tech backup activity is your best friend. And finally, get your students involved. They grew up with this stuff, and they're often the best tech support you could ask for.
And that's really it. The goal here wasn't to overwhelm you. It was to show you that becoming that confident, pragmatic tech user is something anyone can do. So I'll just leave you with this one question to think about. Looking at everything we just covered, what is one small, totally manageable step you'll take this week?